Hi, I'm Ralph Lawton, and in this series of videos I'm going to show you how we built this simple hall table. Okay, we've planed the edges flat and smooth, so we know they meet now, and we want to put a groove in the edge of the timber to accept the plywood tongue that we're going to use to stop the boards moving about. So I've got a router here, slotter cutter, fence. I've got here a piece of router mat that's been folded over the other part of the shelf here to give us a bit of height. This side is hanging off the router mat by only about ½ an inch or so. Perfectly adequate for this reasonably soft cut. Now we have to remember that we only want to cut from there to there, give or take a little bit. So we'll start cutting at this end and progress the cut down to the other end. I'll just put my ear defenders on. We have extraction here, which will kick in once I start the router. That's it. The groove has been cut through down the edge here. All we've got to do is the same thing on the other board and we're ready to glue up. Right, we're at the glue up stage now, and as you can see we're liberally applying some PVA to the joint. The loose tongue is sitting there. Where we want the glue is on this actual joint edge, is what we're interested in. Obviously we need a bit of glue on the tongue itself, but it's that edge we want to make sure that we've got a good glue line through there. Same on the other side. Now just liberally coating the other piece. Using a paintbrush here. I prefer, people use different things, but say sticking your fingers in it. You don't want too much glue on here, but you want enough glue to so it does squeeze out the joint a little bit. Remember, you've got to clean it up afterwards, but cleans up fairly simply. I prefer to clamp it up and let it go hard and then scrape it off. I find if you take it off with a damp sponge, you tend to spread it, and you don't know it's there until you try putting the finish on. Right, I think we're just about there with that. So, put that there. Bring our two pieces together. One board's longer than the other. That's the way it was. Check our witness marks that we did at the beginning. They're okay. Okay, we've cleared a bit of space. We've got the boards in a couple of cramps, and we're just going to close these up now. Doesn't matter what clamps you use. I like these Worth clamps, but anybody's clamp will do. Just close the glue line up. Now at this point it's a good idea to check how much bow we've got, if any. There's a slight, no, maybe there's not, must have been It's pretty flat actually, but just to equalise up the pressure, we'll put one over the other way. Now, you don't need these clamps to be excruciatingly tight. If you've shot the joint correctly and it's all nice and flat, it should marry up all the way along. Now we've glued the tabletop up, it's time to turn our attention to the frame. The first thing we've got to do is trim the legs to length. Fairly simple operation this, but it has to be done. These were cut over length. They've been prepared and finished on all four sides, and we now need to cut them to length. They've been trimmed on one end perfectly square, so we can work from there. We need 730 millimeters, and I prefer to use a steel rule for everything. This is a nice 1 meter steel rule. So 730, there we are, we're here. Square that across. Take it down the side. And we might as well just take it down the front end just to keep an eye on what's going on. Now, because we're cutting across the grain here, I'll confirm the line with a cut. That will mean that we can cut on the waist side of the line and leave a nice clean finish to the cut. You'll note that the lines are being scribed from the face side using the stock of the square on the face side each time, so that the lines that run down the side here are in line, no variation. So that's our bit of timber marked up. Saw, bench hook. You can use the bench hook just on the side of the bench, but I quite like to just lock it in the vise, just makes it a bit more stable. And now we need to cut on the waist side of the line, which is this side. So we'll just make a few strikes backwards with the saw to give us a bit of a curve to get going. And we can just saw down. Now you can keep an eye on it by following the line down there, but if you sight the saw up nice and square, you should be okay. You can bring it down to a flat cut, and you can even take it up that way if you like, just to follow the line down. You want to be just clear of the line. You may notice that my bench hook doesn't have a piece sticking out the side here, because I use this for end shooting timber. But I have a sacrificial bench here, which has got an MDF top on it that I can change. If you've got a posh bench, you don't really want to put saw cuts in it. So you can either have your bench hook with an extra bit sticking out here to protect the bench. If you want to use it as an end shoot, then just put a piece of MDF underneath it before you clamp it into the vise. Okay, there's the sawn end, and we're just about on the line, just clear of the line there. So we need to now repeat the same thing with the other legs to get them all to the same length.